Hey there, I'm Mr. Terry. I'm a high school history teacher. Welcome back to another History Teacher Acts video. All right, it's been a while, but we're back with another StarvHarv Bad Translations of History video. And this one's called Badly Translated Indian History. All right, I love Indian history. I took Indian history classes in college. And some of my favorite lessons that I get to teach in my classes is Indian history. So let's see how bad the translator messed it up. All right, please support StarvHarv. He's been supportive of the channel. His video link is going to be down below. Make sure you've given that a view, like, and subscribe to his channel. Let's check it out. All right, so you know what we do? We try to make sense of the bad translations. I'll try to do my best. You try to do your best down in the comments. Let's have some fun.
Timeline of Indian history from 4000 BC all the way to the modern day, using languages with terrible translation quality, and this was the result. Sponsored by Incogni. 4000 BC. Awesome. In Hindu times, it began with the use of one of the oldest machine markers in the sun's holy scriptures, called the Trunk of Andres. Between 1000.
Okay, I'm trying to make sense of that one. If you got it, let me know. I know I got an Indian, like an Indian community. Help me out too.
And 1,500 years ago, the cultural community developed new technologies, letters, bronchodilators in literary fields, including urban planning, brick house burning, efficient cleaning systems, pest support systems, and large non-kitchen structures.
Okay, I think I know where they're going with this, but it's 4000 BC. My understanding really of Indian history starts with kind of Indus Valley civilizations, so Harappa, Mohenjo-daro. Now those civilizations, the archaeology of them included, in weird ways, bad translations of these things. So like urban planning, yes, there is grid-like patterns with a central structure that definitely shows some kind of political organization. We do see that. We see efficient cleaning systems, maybe because we do see drainage systems coming out of the homes and out of the cities. Kind of, I don't want to call it indoor plumbing, but you know what I mean? But a sewage system like that, still very, very rare for that time in history. Because with that, we're talking at least 4,000 years. So but yes, brick houses. So they were burned, like brick kind of buildings there. So we know that. So it just translated, I guess, kind of weird. Now, pest support systems, I don't know what they're talking about there.
This culture is mainly used in the form of many bamboos. What are bronchodilators, by the way? And also, what are pest support systems? It's pro-pest. 2600 BC, Damien Indus Tourism Guide for Adults.
Hey, Damien.
That's the first shout out, the Damien Indus Tourist Guide for Adults. Not for kids. 1900 BCE, the mature Indian civilization ended in Indian tourism.
Okay. Now we are talking a time where the Indus Valley civilization, it vanished largely. We don't really know what happened to it. We don't have a lot of good evidence for it. There's a few things that migrations came in, that they were overran, they ran out of resources. Earthquakes caused diversion of rivers, so they had to relocate. We don't know for sure. We do have their writing system, by the way. However, we've never translated it. And we've also found that they have done long distance trade. Like, for example, we have stuff from Mesopotamia in the Indus Valley. So we know that there was long distance trade.
1700 BC, Prague Tiara Sandra.
Okay.
This sounds like a Hindu. Has become the stabbing of King Mahada, a cruel man.
Is that from the Vedas?
The magic became
from the
third Prince of Wales. What?
Oh.
After brown sugar.
Brown sugar is good.
Brihad Karama Magda became governor of the Ten Rings.
To rule them all?
1292 BC, after the brave king, Sultanji Vamir became 12 governors. He split himself up.
I'm lost right now.
The creation of Vietnam. He's here. Vietnam's here, boys. Also, creation of a bank. Just one.
Is that when we have earliest evidence of Vietnamese civilization around that time? Okay, bank would make sense because they did long distance trade.
After a brief jab, he became the 24th king of the Bahamas. Just a bit of a brief jab. 700 BC includes holy text in the Holy Book of Hinduism.
Hey.
Costa Rica is a black...
Nice, hold on. This is big moments in history. The Vedic times. This is when they get the foundations of Hinduism. Hinduism is very hard to define. It's very broad. It's very complicated. But we do have texts that have come in, and they are connection and a collaboration, I guess you would say, of texts from different cultures all across India. Biggest thing that people don't understand about India is how diverse it is. It is very, very diverse, both religiously, linguistically, culturally, all that stuff. And Hinduism, honestly, is like a combination of so many different sects and beliefs that there's just, a few things that all, under that banner of Hinduism believe in, but there's so much diversity within that. It's probably the most complicated, diverse religion ever.
Concludes holy text in the holy book of Hinduism. Costa Rica is a black polytechnic culture in the north.
I'll think of techno.
That sounds kind of offensive. I don't really know. 350 BC, Panini's English language, from the origin of Radhara, the founder of the English language that describes the grammatical phrases of Panini.
That's at physics.
In the same quantity.
That's at physics. Well, this is the time where they were cutting edge of a lot of mathematical discoveries. A lot of the foundations of math we even use today actually comes from ancient India. The Gupta Empire, as they were called, were really into this. The Mauryan Empire before, but the Gupta Empire, which is going to come here in a little bit, added a lot. In fact, a lot of attribution goes to, like Islamic scholars for math, and a lot of that is true. A lot of that also combined from India, and then Islamic scholars get that, and you get creation of things like algebra, and then that moves across the world. So India, very much cutting edge, especially of influence of mathematics.
Elden Ring lore, they've all got the same name. They call him Panini the Unwashed. 304 BC, in exchange for 5 weapons, Seleucus dedicated the mainland Africa /
Seleucid? That is the Greeks.
Weapons. Seleucus dedicated the mainland.
Okay, so Alexander the Great, we're about his time, attempted an invasion of the Indus Valley across the Hindu Kush Mountains, which is the mountains on the west side of India there. Got in there. The Mauryan Empire booted them back out. Had elephant armies, by the way. And what happened is a Greco-Persian society called the Seleucid Empire is going to rule on that western border of India. So they were always kind of knocking on the doors of India there.
Africa / Preston to the port of Gupta, and Seleucus agreed to marry his partner Rigupta. 290 BC,
intermarried.
Indian archaeologist and poet Pila Shan invented this weapon.
Which one?
Also known as the finger formula.
Finger guns.
165 BC, Mandi, the Indonesian Greek king, was the king of the Indonesian Greek Empire. When he became a supporter of God, Greek Buddhism, and adopted him, he was considered the most radical sectarian king in Greece.
I think they're still talking about the interactions between India and Greece there. Buddhism would have come in contact with like Hellenistic religious beliefs. And we see that. We call that syncretism, the blending of beliefs there. So I can kind of get what they're maybe getting at here. It's just Hellenism.
What is that? What is going on? Why did he adopt him? 100 BC, former Indian dollar.
By the way, he's doing great with the animations and all this
Kadisha
stuff.
StarvHarv
is so good now.
Logo, wings retention.
Ooh, I love wings.
Aghan Wish Samita's response to stress.
Yeah.
I think
we all need that.
We
all need that.
Success Begins was so back.
Yeah. Golden Age, ancient golden age now.
320 AD, the servant got up and grabbed the secret stuff.
Butt stuff? What?
335 AD, General Gupta took the garden and expanded the queen.
Gupta Empire.
Okay.
Kingdom Queen? Gupta are the second major empire of northern India. There, so you had the Mauryans, you had the Guptas, and again, a lot of people consider the Gupta era like an ancient golden age, especially when it comes to like intellectual activity, like we were talking about math and art, that kind of stuff.
455. Shunagata behaved very well in the wax. He's behaving very well in that. 467. The Hands stood up. During the reign
of the Han.
King Yogi Kata,
Han did definitely not.
An army of
Han
British
Dynasty.
grandparents also.
Han Dynasty. It's their time. That's their time. Were they trying to creep? They didn't get into India there. I mean, so I don't know. They would have interactions, but Han Dynasty also seen as kind of the classical ancient Chinese era too. What did they say about grandparents?
King Yogi Kata An army of British grandparents also left.
Oh no.
There they go.
They had settled there.
500 AD. Mihirakul Alkinant Sigananucho has been through the website. Nihashilo considered a cruel monarch, and the statue of the goddess was destroyed when his empire was exposed.
No.
Empire exposed. Huge drama. This stuff's all history now, but your personal data being sold.
I mean, End of the
history.
Gupta's coming
Using
up.
today's video sponsor, Incogni. If you've ever been on the internet for a long time,
glad he got a
you've no
sponsor.
doubt spilled a big bucket of
Is this
personal
the first sponsor?
data everywhere. From
see what he
signing
did.
up to business classes as a kid, to looking for sweet deals on ice cream as an adult. But every time something seems too good to be free, your data is the price. Ever wonder how scam callers
My
get
phone
your,
is getting
or maybe your
blown
little
up
old granny's
with
phone number?
bull crap
Well,
spam
data
right
brokers
now.
allow them to, and in some cases target vulnerable communities and knowingly sell personal data to scammers. Yeah. You don't have to clean that big stinking data spill all by yourself. Incogni reaches out to data brokers on your behalf, requests your personal data removal, and deals with any objections from their side. Take your personal data back with Incogni. Use code StarvHarv at the link below and get 60% off an annual plan at incogni.com/StarvHarv.
Check it out.
528, following the Sunday War,
Oh no,
Asad
can't fight on a
Haman
Sunday.
defeated the universe of hands and the Guptas and formed the sewer gadgets.
What's a gadget?
What a gadget.
Did the Han really try to get clear down to India, though?
Of Sri Lanka with a pistol. Edu
Tamil
Wada of
Kings?
Sri Lanka shakes his head. No, all right. 1003. Connect the Maldives to the link of the Solar Empire. 1014. Mahmud.
Trying to get what's going on there, a little bit more expansion of, okay, so at this time period, this is where the Indian Ocean trade is really killing it right now. It's doing really well. The Arab sailors are kind of middlemen between trading between, say, like Mesopotamia, Persia, India, Africa, and there's trade kingdoms that were developed there down on the southern tip of India, because you go through there and then you can get eastward to Indonesia, even get up to China if you want to get there. So you got a bunch of those, trading kingdoms down there.
Ghazni, the Hindu king Shahid
Also,
Tribhuvan.
keep in mind, southern India, never unified. Mughal Empire gets kind of close, if you want to say the British do, but these other ones, no. Northern India, very different from southern India.
Flak Haravan Punjab
Ghazni.
lost his 100. Then he tried to attack his wife, and Sango Rogan
Islamic invasion
attacked her.
times.
What the heck is going on? 1025. The Saracen eagle was cut off from Muhammad Ghazni's main tank.
Yep, you can look up
They're
Ghazni,
so, advanced.
invasion of northern India.
In India and China, they had tanks so early. The room was created by Pema Bielo, a chocolate circle. What?
I want a chocolate circle.
What's
Chocolate
a
pizza?
Chocolate circler. What do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a chocolate circler. Also read Albanians settle in India's torch after Muhammad's death.
Wow, so much is wrong with that. Albanians, no, they didn't knock there. Muhammad died 400 years before this.
1157.
If it's the Muhammad.
Kalyani Calgary Inc. V.
Canadians?
The middle-aged man goes after someone else's happiness.
Sounds about right.
1194. Kusu Muhammad and Kanu Jason Hamsimathi were scared of the moon and killed Corey Jayachandran.
He had it coming.
That's not an excuse.
No, he had it coming.
Cockboading played Ibec polo and died.
No!
1211.
He sacrificed him.
Angbima Dev III
Maya.
initially came from the present-day Odisha and was defeated by the governor of Bangladesh, Iwaz Hijik. Confirming time travel.
I don't know that story. Yeah, add any information you think that you think's going on, you're down in the comments.
Quasam Shoal and Eddie Block Sudpak in Edinburgh, he found himself in Glasgow after losing
How does
money
everything just keep coming back to like the British, it's Scotland and Europe. It doesn't matter like where they're doing history. Everything somehow translates back to the West.
The Indian Sea. What's worse, losing himself in Glasgow after losing money in the Indian Sea? What's worse, losing money in the sea or finding yourself in Glasgow?
True.
1226.
They take a lot of money, right?
Just one of them. King Prius of Assam destroyed the 9th king of the royal
Oh
family.
no.
1229.
Rip.
Modern Muslims are not afraid of their ghosts.
No, they're
Contrary
not.
to his
Afraid of no
past
ghosts.
actions, he broke free from the shadow of Corrado and took complete control of Cardo.
He just
1236.
is everywhere,
the ruler
huh?
of modern-day Uzbekistan,
okay.
Narasimha I, conquered Bidi Wabir and began to rule Bengal, Bihar, and Bengal before the Islamic State group, which ruled Turkey, was defeated.
No. I mean, Turkey, yeah, they're getting in. The Turks are, yeah, I mean, they're around there. They're going to be converting here.
And then Rachel is a white pigeon of
too early
the
for...
Okay. 1257, when the Kamstrup Empire came under the influence of Tazo Sandhya,
Timberlane.
the owner of Bangladesh, Ikyes, and the emperors Mamluk and Narasimha Mahadev.
Mamluks, they're coming out of Egypt. Are they over here? Well, Mamluk gets attributed to Egypt, even though I think they're originally Turks, weren't they? And then were enslaved into Egypt and then grow a society there. I kind of looked more into the Mamluk history, the origins, like the outside of Egypt there. But should be getting some Delhi Sultanate time too here.
Of Cambodia became Ghana's first police officers.
Uh-oh.
Congrats.
Bad boys, bad boys.
Why is it always mentioning Cambodia?
It is. Cambodia is always in this.
It's like, yeah.
In these.
I'm here, boys. 1275, the Saints are late. 1290, you don't need a bear snake.
Yeah.
What is a bear snake? Can I ask? Or I just don't need it.
That sounds frightening.
1414, as Malawi general manager, Timur defeats Tanri and founded Sarajevo.
I'm going to say Timur, Timur the Lame. They definitely didn't go over to Sarajevo. They didn't get that far west, but
Very cool.
that's Bosnia.
Deborah succeeded her father, Vera Vishapad, the king of Vienna. They just left India now. I don't know if you've been in India for a while. 1492, in a bid to rescue
it says
140 people abducted from Afghanistan, Afghanistan militants killed Sadal Ruthenian Piper on the battlefield and died of their wounds in the fighting. Masterful gambit there.
I guess.
1518, like David and
Mughal
Arnold,
time.
what matters is that the balance is not the
Mughal
same.
time.
1522, the most heart-wrenching Ducal Plateau is the Coromandel Bay.
The Deccan, they call that. I think that's what the translation. The Deccan, there's a geographic feature called the Deccans. It's a plateau, rocky area. That's how southern India is. North's got the big, the rivers. They got the Ganges, for example. And down south, you got more of like mountainous areas. The Deccan, as they're called.
Right, I'll keep that in mind. 527, under the whims of Amvisradi, commander, this prostitute betrayed the Shanghai dynasty in the Battle of Canada's Hiradi Gabani. 1545, the king of Syria died
So much is happening.
Received the Islamic name of Sowat from him.
Trying to follow.
That's continuing on the law, 1572, I went to Fatah Bursik, Abor Anand Legita.
Mughal. Okay, we're finally hearing it there. It's just some probably Mughal architecture comes out of the west there. Mughals were Muslims that came out of modern day Afghanistan. Like everyone, they were descendants of the Mongols. In fact, Mughal is basically Persian for Mongols. And they invaded up in northern India, which had already been invaded by another Islamic group, the Delhi Sultanate, before that. But these guys are going to create the largest empire to this point in history. And they are interesting, just the fact that they are an Islamic minority. But for much of their history, they did not impose Islam. They abolished the jizya tax under the famous Emperor Akbar. Yes, if you didn't know that, I did not make that up. So this is going to be that period.
This new penetrating building
blending,
is inspired by the people of Malaysia and Kashmir.
That looks like something else.
1605. After a while, he left, and Jean Jerry went.
Gene.
See you guys. 1661. I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
1669. The Plain and Emperor
Nice.
Mughal and Maratha met during an encounter in Delphi.
Delhi, probably.
I am emperor, but I am
Delhi.
also
They're going to set up a capital
Thanks to
there.
Charlotte Shivaji Maharaj's arrogance, the Mughals captured the White Sikh fort.
Oh, I love the forts, man. I love Indian forts. They're so cool looking. They're just stylish. Like, you know, these things that are basically castles, how did they do it so much better than the Europeans? So much of the European stuff was so ugly. There's no style. Look at Japanese castles. Now we got cool like Indian forts and stuff. You gotta have style. Like, where's the soul? Where's the passion? Where's the artistry? There are some cool castles.
Named after Jagaddin and Kadahan during the Battle of Marathi-e-Sinwa. 1680, question mark, subscribing. You heard the man. 1682, the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said that happiness comes from respecting and respecting you. Okay.
I like that.
Thanks.
I like
1688, Akbar, who scored his second boundary of the innings, was weighed by Rajaram Jack.
Weighed, like he standardized weights and measures, right? Isn't that part of it? Kind of setting prices and economic values, that kind of thing.
1690, during the Adani War, the Maldivian Empire was defeated by the Maldives Empire.
Oh no, Maldivian Civil War.
What's happening here?
League of Lager. Okay.
What's happening here? 1699, the German was born and ordered by Ananda Sahib Hengelsa in Punjab.
By the way, when was cricket invented?
It's very peaceful. There are not that many wars. A lot of killing and death, but not that much war. 1729, in the Battle of Punta Kanan, Emperor Multi defeated the empire in Moscow at the request of King Jarasha. In the Battle of Dabai,
missing. There's so many parts of history I don't know.
The Caesar team defeated the Maratha Mahula Empire.
The Romans are still around.
Maratha Empire. 1754.
Marathas.
He was reigned by the King of Kings in the Battle of Komal.
King of Kings. That's what they called the King of Persia, because Persia had lots of kings, and there was a king over the kings.
The incident, which happened in a black hole in Kathmandu,
that's where it is,
later turned into a type of PLC war when soldiers of East India were brutally captured.
It's a black hole in the Himalayas.
Hello?
That makes sense.
About it. In the Battle of Bharatpur, I got on a plane. Bye-bye.
He's out.
1760.
Yeah, plane's invented, but he invented
fight after England loses France. They actually just lost France. Where's he go?
All right, if you know the answer to this, you know it, but Rangers or Celtic? Let me know down below.
1761. 30,000 Sikhs killed 30,000 Sikhs, of whom not only 30,000, but 1,000 Ahmeds were killed.
All right, we're up to the Punjab region up here. So Sikhism, interesting new religion, spawns there in the northwest corner of India there, which will share similar beliefs with both Muslims and Hindus. Kind of makes sense with all of the cross-culturation that have been going on for centuries. I'll give you a couple examples. Like Muslims, the Sikhs reject castes, like spiritual, caste system. But they do, like Hindu, believe in reincarnation. So there you go. You can see them with their turbans there. You can see the folks there. Oftentimes people will mistake them for Hindus or Muslims, depending on that. But yes, because they have very long hair. It's part of their culture and it's kind of wrapped up in there. But yep, they will often be misidentified.
Just specifically 1,000 Ahmeds. I don't know how this happens.
It's a lot of Ahmeds.
This is very personal, by the way. The attacks they've been given.
Yeah.
1762. Madhavara's arrogance led to the defeat of the Great Hague in the Rubber Nizam area of the Maritime.
By the way, British are getting involved now.
The Great Hack of the battlefield.
1757. So going back here to this time, 1762. This is after the 7 Years' War. Actually, 7 Years' War is just ending here. Britain, France, other European nations before them had all been competing for India. India was the most valuable potential colony of anywhere on the planet. And the British are going to win that and really establish their dominance here for about the next 200 years. First through the British East India Company. I don't know if they're going to talk about that, which largely ruled as a government. Basically, they were a monopolized trading company that was able to basically engage in warfare and raise their own armies. In my classes, I call them Walmart with an army. Just think about that. And that's what you got with British East India Company.
The Maratha Empire and the Great Hack of the Battlefield. 1798, the Fourth People's Struggle began.
Oh, no.
The Czar of East India Company and the East India countries renovated the Vedic Empire and installed the fourth toilet.
Ever.
1870.
This is the height of the British Empire.
Anglo-American War began. Hindu College, Presidential College.
The what? Wait.
Third Anglo-American War.
Anglo-American War of 1812. It's kind of over now. They're still like in the aftermath of Napoleon. The British are getting around. Okay.
Hindu College, Presidential College.
We're not to the Sepoy Rebellion yet.
They didn't need to let us
40
know.
more years.
The name hasn't changed. Emperor Durrani of Saskatchewan and Emperor Multan, 1818, received the Original Song Award.
Oh.
It's about time something good happened. 1849, during the Chilean War, led by Sinclair Iwala, security forces defeated Anglo-American. Who is Anglo-American? Just one guy.
Yep, not that time yet.
1853, the first railway line was built between Mumbai and millions of people.
Yeah, that makes sense. The British, this is them. This is industrialization here, industrial revolution. The British have so much control here. And pretty soon here, the British are going to directly control them after the Sepoy Rebellion. See if they end up getting to that at all. But yep, building railroads all across here. Yep, British are in control.
This is a good summary of the British rule in India. British victory in the Indian War of 1857.
Okay, there's the rebellion. As they call as the British are going to call it there. So, Sepoy Rebellion, very interesting piece of history here. So check this out. Here's the short form of it. So the British East India Company employed Indians to basically serve in their military for the British. This is how the British like to rule. They like to rule. They call that indirectly. It's a little bit easier, more cost saving, to get locals rather than just bring all your own people to enforce things. Well, there was the issue of a new rifle called the Enfield rifle to these Sepoy soldiers. And it was greased. The cartridges are greased, right? For lubrication with animal fat. Now, that was culturally bad for Sepoys because whether you were a Muslim or whether you were a Hindu, this could be seen as offensive because you get pork fat with it, beef fat, both, have religious significance in there. And that ended up snowballing into a rebellion that ends up becoming like a national rebellion against basically British rule. It kind of started with the whole gun thing and with the Sepoys, becomes basically a national revolution. I think it was their version of like the American Revolution against the British. But one thing we found out with this is the British were not going to let India go. They were kind of okay with letting the 13 colonies go over in the West and North America. But India, that was the crown jewel of the empire. The British came in and squashed this thing hard. Also, the British crown under Queen Victoria said, you know what? I know you've been doing kind of your own thing, British East India Company kind of acting on our behalf, but you know what? We're taking over from here. And from this point on, the British will put India under direct rule of the Queen and basically abolish the British East India Company out of this because they're like, you guys can't handle this anymore. We'll take it from here. And they're going to rule for the next about 90 years.
During the British rule, India left India and the British signed India.
I think there's some cultural significance.
In India.
Yeah.
India's like, you know what, forget it.
Mughal Empire is going to end.
1869.
Now, the Mughal Empire was basically nothing by then. They had lost most of their power. They signed over so many things over to the British East India Company, but that's like the official end. Like they're still technically like Mughal emperors, but nobody with significant power in the last while.
As long as you read the Bible, it means that you can keep Yehovah as the number of God Talas.
Yeah. Jehovah?
What is the original? Okay. It's Mahatma Gandhi is born.
Hey.
What? Possibly pro-Bible?
What? And Nehru. What?
Why has he got his Twitter handle in there?
Nehru is going to become a nationalist leader here coming through.
Just in case you wanted to follow him.
Instagram and Twitter.
1906, I looked in the mirror. Muslim League formed in Dhaka.
Muslim
they're all the
League.
same. However, the structure of hot pulp can be similar.
So the Muslim League. Here's what we got. Now, this is still under British control. Now, one of the things that people have been clamoring for, of course, for decades by this point, centuries if you want to call it that, is independence, right? Independence. Now, the British, for the most part, were able to keep Hindus, Muslims, basically from ripping each other apart. If that was going to happen. They had lots of different agreements, cultural, political representation, all of those things. And one thing that was made Muslim Indians a little bit apprehensive is that once the British leave and India could get its independence, they were fearful that they would be dominated by a Hindu majority that would not protect the rights of the Muslim minority, because the Muslim population only ever got to at most a quarter of the Indian population, at most. So they were a minority. So groups like the Muslim League were hoping for independence for, specifically for Muslim Indians as well. And in fact, as this story is going to be playing out over the next few decades here, they are going to want their own state, a Muslim state basically for Muslim Indians. And that will actually happen because you can see on the screen here, we're going to get Pakistan here in about 40 years.
Very true. 1911, the Bangladeshi region is a little empty. 1912, daily program.
Very Muslim area as well.
Bomb as a flame.
East side.
1915, that was his satisfaction. 1920, Seyfield's game is unbearable.
Oh, yeah. 0 out of 10 AGM.
That's my review of Seyfield's game. 1931, perfume seller.
Interwar years.
I don't know your strongest perfumes.
By the way, at this time, the Indians were definitely hoping to get their independence because they were very instrumental for supporting the British during World War I. Didn't get their independence. They kept their colonies, the British. But we're about to get World War II. That's going to change
1971, Bangladesh.
They went way past it all. All right, Indian famine, millions died, basically at the hands of mismanagement by the British during this time. But yeah, 1947, we missed it. Independence of India. Independence. And then you get the creation of Pakistan and East and West Pakistan. The biggest migration in modern history happens with deadly migrations of Hindus and Muslims that end up resulting in at least 1 million people probably die, which was horrible. But nevertheless, the birth of the modern India begins. Bangladesh was East Pakistan becomes Bangladesh.
And elected to bat first.
Still love their...
This is all about cricket. This is so important. 2001. Many criminals are registered police users in New Delhi. Armed man, 5 months.
Is that the punishment for a gun?
And in December, gospel newsletter. 2002, do things, Agni.
I agree.
Britain and the United States encourage their people to leave India and Pakistan and continue to use violence to prevent war.
This was a very tenuous time between India and Pakistan. So one of the things that happened on that western border was there was border disputes, especially around like that Punjab region up there. And it's been a heightened tension. Sometimes it looks like they could go to war and sometimes a little bit, better, but very tense time, especially around the turn of the millennium there.
Keep using violence. 2007, there's a high probability of nuclear war between
That
India
was one of the
Pakistan.
threats because they both got nukes. They both do. They're both nuclear nations.
The first commercial flight took off from India. That can't
No.
be right. No, if it's
I doubt
rockets.
Yeah, space rocket.
So they were really kind of in the future.
They went to the moon.
The tanks, but 2007 they kind of
I
went
think it
behind.
crashed, right?
2008,
Years ago?
after congressional approval, George W. Bush signed a nuclear arms treaty with India, ending the 3-year U.S. attack on New Delhi.
Slow down their
done this?
India's nuclear program.
2009, after winning the election, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh headed the government and held senior positions in the government. Most lost just 11 jobs. I was holding down 12 jobs, and now I've lost 11 of them. 2011, after being the captain for 28 years, Mahendra Sindhu has ruled the Indian cricket world.
Is he like
their
the
own
goat
planet for cricket? That's
cricket?
pretty cool. 2013.
I don't really know cricket.
The helicopter is bad.
Yeah, that helicopter sucks.
2019, my father is determined to elect Modi as the Prime
Modi
Minister
just got
of
re-elected.
India. On December 11th, 2019, the Indian Parliament and Citizens Act
Prime Minister
citizenship to Hindus, Muslims, Saints, Zoroastrians, and Christians.
Yeah, they still got a Zoroastrian community, you're right.
There were terrorist attacks in Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Afghanistan, and no one escaped.
Oh, gosh.
What do you mean? Huh? How is that the last thing? What do you mean no one escaped?
That's the last part of their history.
That's it. Thanks again
Final
to
thoughts.
Incogni for sponsoring this video.
All right, another great video from StarvHarv. I actually feel like I was able to add a bunch of things, and I hope you learned a lot of Indian history with me trying to fix the broken translations, trying to do my best with what they gave me. So anyways, if you have anything to add to it, please let us know down below. Let's get through this together. With this, we'll see y'all next time. Bye.